hold the paper the long way, the long landscape way. Put the two edges together, and I'm not going to fold it like all the way down. I'm just going to fold it right on the ends and crease it. Open up the paper again, and when I open it up, you can kind of see the line where I ran my fingernail and made that real strong crease. I'm going to go over that with my pencil. Just make a little tick mark, a little one. A smaller one would be more accurate than a longer one. And then I'm going to use my ruler or my straight edge or my folded paper ruler to make a line, a horizon line going straight across like that. Okay. But let's label this 3-point perspective in the corner. 3-point perspective with cubes. Okay. Let's put period. I'm going to put period 2. And then today's date is already the 8th. My goodness. Put a vanishing point here on the left and call it VP1. And then on the right and call that VP2. So that is very similar to 2-point perspective. This is called your horizon line or eye level. Okay? We're going to put a 3rd point up in the air, and I'm going to try to find the center by folding the paper the way that you would fold like one of those leaflets at our assemblies, you know, like a book, like that. And just crease the top so you can find the halfway point, and also at the bottom so you can find the halfway point there. And I drew my pencil mark right here and here. So right here in the center, I want you to sketch out a vertical line about 1 inch above the horizon and 1 inch below, and put a little dot there on the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to go over my line with a ruler and just double check that I drew it straight. And you can't tell if you're drawing it straight without hovering right over the center of your paper. You just can't. Because when you're sitting back like a foot away, you're going to be looking at this piece of paper in a different perspective also, and you're going to be looking at it from an angle. So you got to hover over your paper in order to get it, you know, as accurate as possible. So this one is easy. It's right in the middle. Half of the box is over the horizon line, half of the box is under. Okay, and what we're going to do is draw from those 2 points to vanishing point 1. So let's do that. And also to vanishing point 2. So does this feel familiar? This feels really familiar because you've done it already. To establish like the 2 corners of this cube or box, we're going to just draw straight lines. Okay, so we're going to have a big box in the middle. In visual arts, we're going to do it this way. Okay, and the rules for visual arts are you can take a little bit more liberties with things sometimes. Okay. So we have a box that we're seeing from the corner, and it's using these 2 vanishing point lines. Okay, so you can see how the bottom and the top of the box kind of come closer together as they go toward the 2 opposite vanishing points. Let's erase the horizon line. Okay, that's your light source. So we're just going to use vanishing point 2 to draw the light source. Okay, and just keep it real simple. We're not going to do that fancy triangulating, all the vanishing point lines and all this stuff. We're not going to do that. Just going to keep it simple for now. All right. So I use vanishing point 1 to draw the end of my shadow, which is over here. This line right over here, which is basically the shadow of this off the top of the box right here on the ground. So if the light source is over here, then this is going to be our lightest shaded side. This is going to be our darkest. We don't see a third side because we cannot see the top nor the bottom when something is at eye level. We just see the sides, you know, the sides, not the top or the bottom. And we can see the shadow. So let's go ahead and shade this shadow, okay? And we'll make it go from dark to light. So let's get to this point. I'm going to give you a minute to do that and get to that point. All right. So if you're done shading the shadow, what we should start to do is shade the dark side of the box. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to erase my little D right here where I wrote D for dark side. And I'm going to put some medium, that's a medium dark value down, but I don't want it to compete with my shadow. I want the shadow to be darker, especially right over here at the base. So I'm just going to make it a little bit lighter so that I can see where my shadow starts. Okay, just kind of scribble shading and just trying to fill it in. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying not to leave darker areas right now. I just want to make it uniform. And then I'm going to go back and put in my transitions in tone. So you can do that right off the bat, or you could actually just kind of put in the general, you know, degree of value and then put in your transitions and tones on top of that. And this is what I mean by that. I'm going to pick a corner. I'm going to pick this corner and make that my darker corner and have it go from dark to light. So after I fill this in with kind of an overall dark gray, I'm going to go to this corner and press harder with my pencil to get a darker value, or to get the look of a darker value, and then kind of fade, do a little fade. Okay, I also do a little cross hatching over here like that. You can see how I'm lifting my pencil up at the end of each stroke so that it gets lighter. So now I have a much darker corner, and that creates a transition in tone. Let's shade the light side. And overall, I'm going to just put like a light medium value. So I'm going to use less pressure. It's always easier or better to go a little lighter and then add more pencil on top if you're not sure about how the shading is going to turn out. Okay, so that works. Okay, there's some little white spaces, so I'm just going to fill that in and make it more even, and I'm going to just even it out even more by doing some lines going up and down. Do my little scribble shading slash cross hatching technique right here. Now what I'm going to do is transition from this corner here dark to light this way, move up this way. So turn my paper so it's more comfortable to shade that corner. I'm not going to really press too hard like I did here on the other dark corner. I'm going to press a little bit more lightly and then fade it and just use very light pressure compared to this side over here. Like that. So that's a transition in tone on that side. Maybe I need a little bit more contrast here because it's starting to like all mush together here. So I could either make this darker, which I don't want to do because that's supposed to be my light side. Or what I could do is lighten up this on the darker side, just a little bit. With my eraser, I'm actually erasing little crosshatch lines. So use the eraser as a drawing tool too. You're drawing in white lines. You're doing the opposite of drawing in dark lines with the pencil. You're drawing in the white lines with the eraser, like that. All right, now that has some contrast, so I like that. My edge is nice and clean. Okay. All right. Clean up these edges. There we go. All right, so basically it's a 2-point perspective in the middle. But let's just work with what we have so we learn the concepts, okay? I'm going to draw a box that's below the horizon line. I'm going to keep it pretty close to like this little center or middle area. Maybe, well, let's put it slightly off to the right. And I'm just going to sketch a line that's about an inch. That's about an inch. And draw it with your, draw it straight with your ruler or straight edge. Try to keep it parallel to all your other vertical lines. And let's make it small. And let's put a point on the top and bottom of that line. Okay? Now connect to vanishing point 1. Connect to vanishing point 1 from the top and from the bottom. And do the same exact thing to vanishing point 2 from those same two points. Okay, like that. So we have this little V shape, okay? Now, because it's 3-point perspective and it's closer than this, it's not as close to the horizon line, but it's closer, it's getting closer to this vanishing point 3 down here. We are not going to use vertical lines to draw the side of the box. In this case, we're going to use lines that go to vanishing point 3. So I want to establish, you know, how wide the sides of the box will be. So in order to do that, I'll just put a dot like that. And then connect those dots with vanishing point 3. And this one's going to look really exaggerated, so I don't know if I'm going to like that. You see what I'm saying? Don't like that. So it's going to have to, it may be technically correct, but what's happening is, once again, this paper is too small. So in order to make that look like more decent, okay, I'm going to have you guys, sorry about this, I'm going to have you move everything directly underneath the center. Just for the sake of having it look normal. And when I say normal, it's looking kind of weird because of we don't have enough width on this paper. If we had a drawing paper that was 18 by 24, which is usually what we use in class, I think it would look much better and normal. So I'm going to redraw that side. I'm going to establish those 2 points again and draw to vanishing point 3. So this is what you should get, okay? But because we were too far off to the left and right, we were going to get that weird exaggerated angle on one of the sides, and people will think that's not a box. That is not a box, okay? I want you to look at these 2 points again at the top of these 2 lines that go to vanishing point 3 here. And I want you to crisscross those lines, connect those points to the vanishing point on the opposite side, like that. You're going to go off to vanishing point 2 from this left point. From this right side, where this point is, you're going to crisscross over to vanishing point 1. So that will form the top of the box, and this is what a box would look like if we had a small box kind of standing right in front of us, or sitting right in front of us, and we're looking down on it and it's on the ground. This box is going to be closer to us than this box because it's higher up on the picture plane, and it's closer to the horizon line. Okay?
So you want to move vanishing point 3 over?
I want you to move this box directly underneath this box and have that line almost be, you could have it directly underneath and in line with this center line. That will give you a better looking box. Okay? And then we're going to draw the shadow. So when we draw the shadow for this box, we're just going to use vanishing point 2 and extend this line here out. From this corner, we're going to use vanishing point 2 and extend that line outward like that too. So let's go ahead and line up this point right here at the end of this line with vanishing point 2 and extend that line outward toward the left. And from this corner here, where this line meets this line and makes a corner of the box, we're going to use vanishing point 2 and extend that line outward like that. Okay? We are going to use vanishing point 1 to draw a nice long shadow, because if this one shadow is long, this one shadow is long as well. Okay, something like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to shade. So I would just want to get rid of some of these extra lines that go through my shadow. And let's shade this shadow. Well, let's make that real dark right near the base of this box. And I know this box looks kind of like a weird shape, like a Chinese food carton. It's angled inward, and that's because of this 3-point, this vanishing point 3 down here, influencing that angle. Okay. Just trying to blend my shading a little bit so it looks a little smoother. Create those in-between values. The more values you use, the smoother your shading becomes. Instead of using 3 shades, doing 4 or 5 or 6 will definitely give you a smoother look. This side is going to be your darkest side, this side is going to be your lightest side, and then this side is going to be your medium side right there. Okay, so let's shade the darker side. So let's do it the easy way. Just overall make that one darker, overall make that medium, and overall make that a lighter value. So I want to make this the dark side here on the left, but make it a little lighter than the shadow so that the shadow can stand out on its own. And you don't want that side to become like a part of the shadow. Okay, so that looks like it's pretty dark. This is the medium side, so let's make that noticeably lighter than the left side. I'm using less pressure when I shade, and I'm just kind of doing scribble shading and maybe like a little combination of scribble and cross hatching, because sometimes I'm like changing directions. So does this look lighter than this? Yes, but I feel like I need this to be a little bit darker for more contrast. It's still too close for me. I'm going to make that a little bit darker. All right. Okay, that works. Now it's much darker than that. And now the light side. Let's put a little bit of light shading overall on here. Okay, that's going to be my light side. So, okay. So what I'm going to do now is I want to make my transitions in tone. Make this little corner here darker. Okay. Let's make a dark corner here on the medium side. Okay, and then here on the lighter side, let's make Let's make this corner, should we make this, yeah, we'll make this corner a little darker. Just so we can keep away from all these dark values here. So what we want to do is just kind of maintain contrast. So now we have the cube and the horizon line, which will remain straight because we don't want a really distorted shape. This cube is going to be one that is using the vanishing point 3, and you can see that as you go down toward the ground, the lines converge together, and if these were like the legs of a chair, let's say, then the legs would start to come closer and closer together. If we were to look down on a table or a chair or a little side table, okay? Let's draw a line in the at the top near very similar to this. Where this is located, we'll just draw a vertical line right above it and just make that small, like make it about an inch or 3/4 of an inch. We could do it as an inch and draw a dot at the top and bottom of that line. Okay. Like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to draw to the vanishing point 1 and 2 from the top and bottom of that line. Let's go ahead and do that. That. And like that. Okay. Now in this case, we're going to have the opposite effect where the lines come closer together as we go toward the bottom of the page. Now the lines are going to come closer together as we go toward the top of the page because of this vanishing point location right here. So let's first figure out how wide this box is going to be. So I'm going to make it, draw a point right there about an inch away, and draw a point right there about an inch away. Connect those dots to vanishing point 1 like this. Remember, the dots are drawn on the bottom line here, not on top of this, over here. We connect those same points at the bottom of each of these slanted lines to vanishing point 2. So we're going to crisscross these lines and have them connect to the vanishing point that is furthest away. So for this, the vanishing point furthest away is vanishing point 1. For this one, I connected it to vanishing point 2, which is the furthest away. So let's just crisscross. Like that. So the darkest side here would still be the same as all of these. Dark here. The medium side would be down here. And the lightest side would be, actually it would be at the top, but we can't see up and over the top because that box is above our eye level. So the lightest side that's visible would be this right side right here. Okay, so work on this, try to catch up and get to this spot right over here. And then we're going to go ahead and shade that. Now this shadow is going to be a doozy. It is going to be tough. If we were to use the vanishing point line, let's say, of the sun, is right here, chances are that shadow is going to be out here somewhere. Let's see here. I want to see if I can draw a convincing shadow. If that's up like that, I'm going to go down like that. I'm just sketching and trying something. And right now, as of this very moment, I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it. if I use vanishing point 2, and vanishing point 1 to draw the shadow, we'll get something like this. I just feel like it is way too far away. So I'm just going to leave that alone, and I'm going to shade this. So let me shade this first. Make that dark overall. Make this light, and just use a lot less pressure on this side to create a lighter value. So I'm going to make this corner here dark and have it go from dark to light this way. Now we just still have to find a shadow. Where is that shadow going to be? I'm going to try a couple different spots. I'm going to use vanishing point 1 and 2 to draw. Yes?
So it would still be like a square, and it wouldn't be like in that like to-go box shape.
So this is actually this shape. But because of our point of view and where we are on the ground, this is going to be shaped like this. Using 3-point perspective, it's going to have this kind of exaggerated narrow end, but you're supposed to still understand that as a box like this. Okay, this is just a very exaggerated view using this 3-point perspective, and it kind of gives us a bubble effect, you know what I'm saying? But normally we don't see it in this kind of compressed way in such a small space. But for this demonstration, it's like this. Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out where the shadow should go. That's there. I'm going to say it's going to be maybe somewhere like that. I feel like it should just be pretty close to these two. Since they're all in a line, I don't see why this one shadow would be thrown over here. It just doesn't look right. So I'm going to use vanishing point 2. I'm going to see if I can find a formula to figure out where to put shadows, and then I'll get back to you on that tomorrow. The one thing we didn't do at the end of the class yesterday was we didn't have enough time to draw the shadow over here of this box floating. This box could be in the back of this box, and if it is, the shadow would be somewhere back here. This does not really tell us where the box is. It's really the shadow that tells us whether it's actually closer to us or further to us, or further from us, whether it's behind this box and this box, or whether it's in front of all of those boxes. So the shadow plays an important role in giving us that missing information. We could drop a shadow straight down if the sun was directly overhead, and I showed you how to do that by extending the lines from the corner of the box straight down. You would have a shadow that looks like this. I'm just going to do a real quick rough sketch. And that shadow would be fine if the sun was overhead. And you could do it that way if you want to draw a shadow there. But what I would do is, because the shadows are all kind of going toward the left side of the object, I would do that to this one too. Maybe put the shadow, maybe move it out here. And use vanishing point 1 and just move it to the left a little bit with this shadow. And let's see how that looks. So let's say we wanted to put the shadow between this and this line here. No, I don't think we could use that angle. I feel like we should use vanishing point too. Okay, and we could put that shadow right there. If you feel like that shadow is a little too big, we could make it a little smaller, like that. But you know how all these shadows are long and stretched out? Maybe we'll just leave that shadow long and kind of make it skinny, just like the other shadows. That way it kind of matches. There, we'll make it a little skinnier. So right now we're just going to guess at the shadow because the formula for doing the shadow of this is very difficult to use. So I think this is a good spot. It's a little bit to the left, and also it's in the picture. I wanted to include it into the picture. So I want to have a shadow in the first place. So let's have it go from dark to light this way. Okay, dark to light that way. All it has to do is look convincing in this class, in the world of art, visual art. Because all of this is fake anyway. It's not real life. It's not real. It's an imaginary place. So we're going to take a little artistic license. So we're definitely going by some rules, like using vanishing points, but not everything is 100%. Thinking maybe I want to make my shadow just a little bit longer. And all I have to do is just extend those vanishing point lines out a little bit more. Like that. Since these guys are so long, let's make this shadow also kind of long. All right, I feel like that's believable. I could get away with that. It looks like it could belong. I don't know if you feel that way. But if we definitely drop the shadow underneath, then that would look weird too. So I think slightly off to the left side, bottom left, that would be good. Okay, so I want you to finish doing that.
Can we look at the third perspective, the top box again? Because I didn't get there yet.
Okay, so I'm gonna take that out again. And so we got a lot done, period 6. We have our 1-point perspective that we did. I'm just gonna do a little review here. 1-point perspective. We did our 2-point perspective right here. And yes, I will put these pictures on the assignment. I'll attach them to the assignment so that you could just quickly reference them and say, oh, okay, that's supposed to be what 2-point perspective looks like. And then this one was our 3-point perspective. So it looks like we finished these yesterday. Basically, the box in the middle is drawn in 2-point perspective. Oh my gosh, this class is so behind. It's like a whole drawing behind. It's full of sophomores and... Okay, I've got 3 minutes until I have to start office hour. He said to me, you know, Mrs. Hahn, this shadow that you put directly underneath this box, you could teach it to them that way. But it's a very, very simplified view, okay? That situation may happen only if the sun is directly overhead, right?